Everybody, bottom of the page, but I would go back to I'd go to Omarove. Although we are Omarove. We didn't do a good job yesterday on the end of the Gemara, so I'll review from Omarove. This year's Nishmat of Menachem ben Akiva, Rus bas Sholem, Stor bas Moshe, Refuas Noch Lionel ben Yulia Oria Chana. Okay. Omarove. We are almost at the end of the narrow lines. Omarove. Ilav. The Omar Rabi Yochanan. If not Rabi Yochanan who said Tznuin Rabi Doisto Omru Dovor Echod, yeah, which means what did Rabi Yochanan say? Even if you leave alone Rabi Yochanan's personal opinion, Rabbi Yochanan for sure said one thing, and that is that Tznuin and Rabbi Doisto said the same thing. What did Tznuin say? That Tznuin spoke in the Mishnah in Ma'aser Sheni, quoted in Amud Aleph, speaking about a person who's Tsanua, who's a big tzaddik, chosid, and he doesn't want even the sinners who take away his own fruit, he doesn't want them to eat something which was not mechulal properly. So he takes the grapes, whatever, or before the grapes were cut off, he does chilul. He does chilul, or at the end of the day, says Tznuin work afterwards. Excuse me. Rabbi Yochanan's new version that Tznuin said after the thieves already took it, then the Tznuin come and said, whatever is in the hands of the Ganovim, we're mechalal now. And Rabbi Doiso said the same thing about people leitutei erev, the people who are anim, who come to the field to get the leket and may take extra. So also then we say we are mafkir whatever is in their hands. So said Rabbi Yochanan a shidduch. He said Tznuin Rabbi Doiso said the same thing. They're coming from the same mindset. Not that Tznuin is Rabbi Doiso. Rabbi Doiso's nickname is not Tznuin. Yeah, he's not even quoted by Tznuin. Happens to be that Tznuin Rabbi Doiso, they are birds of a feather flock together. They are of the same. Yeah, exactly. And therefore they both believe that you can work magic in no. Not lemaskono. No. There are two types of magic. Either brera, but the other magic is fakert. It's already taken by them. And even though it's already taken by them, it's out of my control, which Rabbi Yochanan doesn't like to make when something is out of your control. Yet, says Rabbi Yochanan, they too believe that even though the item is out of my hands already, I can still act upon it. I can still do actions regarding it. Brera and Lefera is the same. I'm not talking about Brera / Lefera. Now I'm talking about the other option. In other words, when you want to act upon something that somebody will steal from you, Chalila, or take tzedakah, you can do one of the two. Either work in advance, and then you have to work with Brera or Lefera, or you opt for the other thing, and that is after you took it, then it's very barur. You know what was taken, but it's out of your control. So you have to belong to either of two camps. Or you can say, no, I'm not going to act upon someone else's money, and that's it. So says Rove, if not for Rabbi Yochanan who made the shidduch between them, and he said that they both said the same thing, Hava Amina, I would have thought, Man Tana Tznuin Rabbi Meiri. I would have said that the author of Tznuin is Rabbi Meiri. Why? Lav Omar Rabbi Meir Meiser Momen Gavohu. Rabbi Meir says the Meiser Sheni belongs to Hashem, doesn't belong to you with the extra kedusha, belongs to the Eibishter. The Afilu Achi, and even though the Inyan Pdia Ukimerachmono Birshusei, when it comes to Pidyon, when it comes to redeeming chilul, whatever you want to call it, of the money, of the kedusha on the money, it's yours. It's considered to be your personal thing. There's an akudah here which I didn't mention yesterday. We're going to see it now. Dichtiv. Vim gol gal ish mimaisroi. If a man takes geula, which means he redeems the money, the kedusha on the money of masroi, his own. Chamishisoi Yosef olov. He has to add a fifth. Okay. In other words, if I take your Meiser Sheni and I'm mechalel it, okay, on money, and let's say you don't mind, maybe it's a zechia, I can act on your thing with your consent. So then I don't have to add a fifth. But if I do chilul on my own thing, if I do chilul on my own fruit, mechalel my 50 shekel fruit on 50 shekels, no. Then it has to be not 50, it has to be 60. Okay, I have to add a fifth of the existing thing. Okay, and therefore, and yet you see, you see that even though the Meiser belongs to Hashem, yet nevertheless it's called Ma'asroi, his own choimish as opposed to other people's choimish. Excuse me, his own Meiser as opposed to other people's Meiser, and he has to add choimish. So you see that in Meiser Sheni, which really belongs to Hashem, we still have ownership and authority. We still have my Meiser versus your Meiser with a very clear nafkamina. If it's my Meiser, I have to add a fifth, not 50 by 60. And if I do it on Yaakov's Meiser Sheni, it will be only 50. So you see, it's considered as Hashem's, and yet it's mine to a certain level. Why? The Torah placed it in my hands regarding Pidyon, as we're going to see later. And we continue now, because our Mishnah of Tznuim did not speak about Meiser Sheni, it spoke about Kerem Revai. Meiser Sheni, nobody's going to steal it, it's in my house already. Less likely that it's stolen. We speak about Kerem Revai, it's still growing on the grapes, on the vines, and people just come and take. Kerem Revai Nami. Now, what does Meiser Sheni have to do with the price of cheese or the price of Kerem Revai? Kerem Revai also, Gomal Kodesh Mi Meiser. Kerem Revai, we learn in Gzera Shovo, in both parshas it says Kodesh, and we learn Kerem Revai from Meiser. By the way, Kerem Revai and Meiser are almost identical twins. Very, very similar halachos. Kerem Revai and Meiser Sheni. Steve Hocho, Kodesh Hilulim. When it comes to Meiser, to Kerem Revai, the 4th year of the life of the tree, or some say only the vine, it says Kodesh Hilulim. What's Hilulim? Praising. You praise Hashem. That's one in the Havamina, the Gemara in Brachos. The Havamina at the beginning wants to say that this is a source to make brachos, although the Gemara rejects it. Kodesh Hilulim. It says the word Kodesh. Uksiv Gabi Meiser. And look, the other party, Meiser Sheni, which is Kerem Revai's friend, it says there also B'chol Ma'asar Haaretz Mizera Haaretz Mipri Ha'etz, any kind of Meiser from the seed of the land, from the fruit of the tree, La Hashem Hu, it's Hashem's. Kodesh, Kodesh, whoopa, here we have a link, blinking at us. Kodesh, Kodesh, Ma Kodesh Dichtiv Gabe Meiser, just like the Kodesh written regarding Meiser, it says what? Afal Gab the moment Gavohu, even though the Meiser itself, as of itself, belongs to Hashem, its moment Gavoah. Nevertheless, Le'idian Pdia, when it comes to redeeming the Kedusha on the money, exchanging the Kedusha to the money, Ukme Rachmana Bilshusei. The Rachmana made it, Ukme placed it, Ukme is like to place, to make it stand, La'amid, Ukme Rachmana Bilshusei. The Torah says it's your Rishus. In other words, the Torah makes its own Gzeras HaKos of its own limitations or its own rules. Of course, it's a Torah. So the Torah says, even though it's not yours, we consider it to be yours, not stam yours you can act upon. It's your private one as opposed to your friends. Had it been your friends, you don't have to pay choimish. Because it's yours, your private one, you have to pay choimish, an extra fifth when you redeem it, like some kind of knaski kilo from the Torah, berech. So then, oh, very good. If so, afai kodesh, so to the other kodesh, the import-export, zera shava, nami, also the chtiv gabi kerem revai. Kerem revai is the same story. Afal gav the lav moment yudeu. Even though it's not his money, nevertheless, in a chuli, when it comes to chilul, when it comes to redeeming the kedusha of kerem revai on money, ukme rachmana birshus. Okay, the Torah placed it in his rishus. The ho ki isei. So now let's go to the next stage. You're so concerned about this mega chiddush that even though it's in the hands of the thief, and yet I can still act upon it. Who says that? The tznuim, I can actually be poide with my money that's here, right here in my own vineyard, in my own house, on the grapes that they stole. Well, it's not such a big chiddush according to Rabbi Meir. When it is in my authority, my control, my reshus, nami halav dideu. It's not his. It doesn't really belong to him anyways. Even when it's yours, it's not really yours. And still he can be mechalel, right? He can still be mechalel nevertheless, right? Because that's what the Torah decided. The Torah placed it by you a little bit. The negative side is chometz, right? Chometz and bobel shusarabim. We've seen that a few times. Two things are not yours, but the Torah said it's chilul that are yours for chiyuvim. Here it's yours for chilul. Mishum hachi matzi machil. Because of that, when it's in the hands of the ganav, You said all kinds of nice svaras yesterday, Baruch. Nice, I hear you. But at the end of the day, it's not mine now and it's not mine later. In other words, whether it's in my domain, it really belongs to Hashem, and yet I have to treat it as my personal one and give choinish. And with the hands of the anim, it's not mine either. It's not mine either. So I'll be mechalel. So I can hear Rabbi Meir to be the author or the one endorsing tznuim. Aval, let's divorce tznuim from Rabbi Doiso. Aval gabe leket. When it comes to leket, which is Rabbi Doiso's story, and there we talk about the anim, came in the Mamoina Didei because the money is his. In other words, leket, a second before the anim took it, whose was it? Mine. Yeah, I'm answering your question, Moshe. Yeah, are you with us? Yeah, okay, good. Came in the Mamoina Didei, by the leket, it's my money. I'll explain more later. The Kerem Revai is not mine to begin with, right? So Mimela, just like I can still, there's some kind of, magic power that can be Mechalel, Kerem Revai, which was never mine. Now the Ganav took it. Shine, it's not mine anyways. So Mimela, Rabbi Meir would say, Givaldik, it doesn't mean Rabbi Meir and Snuin, which could be his friends, we don't, but we would have been his friends. They would say, what? We're talking about Anim? By Anim? No. Anim, it was mine. Beforehand, before the Ani took it, we don't know which Soira is going to take. We don't know which wheat is going to take. It's all mine. And eventually they'll take it. But a second before the Ani took it, it was mine. So it's my thing. Now, when it was mine, I could be mafkir everything. Now the Oni took it. Maybe I can't be mafkir it. Says the words in the words of the Gemara, came at the moment of the day, Ki say when it's under his reshus, when it's in his domain, his control, his field, who the matzi mafkirle, then he can be mafkir. But kilesi should say when it's out of his hands, it's in the house of the Oni, in the little shack where the Oni lives. Lo matzi mafkirle, maybe not. In other words, you, Rabbi Yochanan, you make a shidach between Rabbi Doisa and Tznuim. So, if so, Rabbi Yochanan says, Rava, I'm not arguing with you. But if not for Rabbi Yochanan saying it, I would have not necessarily connected the two. I would have said that by Kerem Revai, I can do the trick of Mechalel in someone else's domain because Kerem Revai is anyways not mine from day one, from the beginning of its creation, as opposed to, and Mimela now, the Ganav took it, showing I can still do the same trick, same magic. Mashenken, when it comes to Anim, I would say, no, Mapitom. When it comes to Hefker, I never found in the Torah never ever said I can be mafkir something that belongs to you. I cannot be mafkir your car, I can't be mafkir your glasses, I can't be mafkir your anything, yeah? Because it just doesn't work. So it's a bigger chiddush to say that the stalks of wheat and barley that are by someone else who said they can say you can be mafkir them. That's a whole new chiddush. However, he's not arguing Rabbi Yochanan, and he says, yeah, Rabbi Yochanan said what he said, and Rabbi Yochanan did connect Rabbi Doiso to Tznuim, saying what? That there's a general blanket rule that you can act upon someone else's money, halachically and otherwise, even though it's not completely in your reshus. Yeah? Oh, sorry. Again? Neta Revai. Yeah? You get a star. So the difference between Baruch is asking, you can be mevater or moichel on money that's not yours. Let's say if anybody stole anything from me today, I'm moichel and mevater to him, as opposed to hefker, which seems to be much more of an issue. And the answer is very good. The answer is like this: moichel mevater are less. I'm going to explain myself. Are a lesser darker than hefker. Hefker is like a kno. When I mafkir something, it's an actual legal act. It's not like an emotional thing of I'm okay. I don't have any claims against him because I'm a nice guy. Hefker is like a kno. Hefker is like I maknit to the entire world. I maknit to thin air. I'm giving up my rights, but kilo I maknit to the hefker. Kivyochol. I'm giving the rights in a very clear halachic way, which means I explained to you before. Do you remember my explanation with the Ktsois and the Nesivas? The difference between speaking with teaching in Yeshiva. Yeah, Ktsois and Nesivas regarding hefker versus yush. Yush is more of like an emotion that means my emotions are not there anymore. Mimela, I'm not going to claim it because I don't know where it is. If I do know where it is, yeah, I don't have to acquire it again, at least according to some achronim. Yeah, I don't have to acquire it again. I'm not Miyash anymore, so I'm back to wanting to own it. The Shenk and Hefker, if I was mafkir an object, then I can't just own it again. I'll have to be koine with Hagba like everybody else, because I was kilu maknit to that cloud, like in the computer world, called Hefker. You want to download it? Download it again. That's a good example. Yeah. Now you have to have a new Maisa. After I'm doing a mamash clear halachic act. Well, Vitur and Mechila, which you can write books on each one, and I admit I don't know everything the tip of my finger, but Vitur is more like, hey, Seder, let him enjoy it, and I'm not to base him. It doesn't mean a mamash makne. You know what I'm saying? It's not a halachic act of moving from X to Y. That's the Gadol the answer. You're the last one for this session, Yaakov, and then we continue. Weiter. Omar Ravina. Another statement that starts the same. We had this regarding a buyer, regarding Rov and Ravina. Omar Ravina. Ilav Omar Rabi Yochanan, Snuin Rabi Dois Omar Dover Echad. If not for Rabi Yochanan, that connected, but listen carefully. Here the words are very important. What did Rabi Yochanan say? Snuin and Rabi Doiso said the same thing. He didn't say the Rabi Doiso is the one who's quoted by Snuin. In other words, the statement of Snuim, yeah, that they're mafkir, the stuff that's not mafkir, mechalo stuff that's in the hands of the anim, wasn't Rabbi Doisa's words. Rabbi Doisa and Snuim happen to be great minds think alike. They're like mechavin to each other. They say the same thing. But Rabbi Doisa is not the master. He's not the Tana who said Snuim. That makes it, who cares? What's the difference? Listen to this, interesting. Havamina, I would have thought, man Tana Snuim, Rabbi Doisa he. If not for Rabbi Yochanan that said that they just are parallel statements that happen to say the same, I would have said that Snuin is Rabbi Doiso. I would have said Rabbi Doiso is the author of the Mishnah of Snuim, arguing on Rabbi Gamliel. Why? What would have I gained from that? Remember our original question? Our original question was that how can Rabbi Yochanan that says Alocha is Stam Mishnah? Rabbi Yochanan says Alocha is what's Stam Mishnah? Anonymous Mishnah. A Mishnah not quoted by anybody, that's like, in English they say, Omrim. That's what the Welt says. Everybody knows you have to take 15 vaccines every day to every baby, no questions. Yeah, that's, everybody knows, yeah? So that's a Stam Mishnah. So now, we said, oh, Rabbi Yochanan, you're working against a Stam Mishnah, which at the end of the day happened to be true, by the way, yeah? So we were stuck with Rabbi Yochanan that says something that does not fit a Stam Mishnah. That was a mid-air collision. Now, I would have found a beautiful solution. I would have said, you know, Tznuim, the anonymous Tznuim, are Rabbi Doisa that's not quoted. What do they gain from that? Had I said that, then a Stam Mishnah would not be difficult with Rabbi Yochanan. We would have solved an entire daf tomorrow of questions by answering what the Stam Mishnah is not a problem with Rabbi Yochanan. How come? Rabbi Yochanan says, Alochik is Stam Mishnah, and the Stam seems to be Tznuim, and Rabbi Yochanan is not Tznuim. A equals B, B not equals C, something wrong. Continues the Gemara to the punchline. Rabbi Yochanan, Kistam Yechida loy Omar. Wow. Says like this. There's a Stam and there's a Stam. When the Mishnah quotes a Stam Mishnah, when Rebbe wrote Stam, a Mishnah without any opinions, yeah? Okay? Then what do we say? Alocha Kistam Mishnah. Alocha Kistam Mishnah says Rabbi Yochanan. However, if we know that it's a Stam Yechido'o, if I know, because I studied Talmud of the terms of the Mishnah, and I looked at the Brises and I looked at other background information, and I know that this Stam only endorses the opinion of one Tana, then apparently Rabbi Yochanan in that case would not paskin like that kind of Stam. If we have a Stam that may be different opinions or unknown, then we say Stam Mishnah, says Rabbi Yochanan, Stam Mishnah, like Stam Mishnah. But if we know there's an argument between three Tanoim, A, B, C, and I know clearly that only number 3, C, is the author of the Stam, then Rabbi Yochanan would not follow it, which I think is the Machloikis, but that discusses it, that Begadol, that's what we're saying. That would be a great solution right from the start. Rabbi Yochanan could have said, listen, I know this is a Stam Mishnah, but it's a Stam of Rabbi Doisa. I know that this Stam is just a quote of Rabbi Doisa, and we made a strike through on Rabbi Doisa. That's all. It's just Rabbi Doisa's statement. Had he said that, he would have saved himself a lot of trouble. Because then he doesn't have to adhere to that Mishnah, doesn't have to agree to that Mishnah, and all the issue, oh, you Rabbi Yochanan is saying Stam Mishnah, oh, and you Rabbi Yochanan is saying different to the Mishnah, that whole contradiction would have been resolved. However, Rabbi Yochanan didn't want to help himself because he was truthful. And Rabbi Yochanan says, no, I know that this Stam Mishnah is not just Rabbi Doisa, it's a more general opinion, and I'm just telling you that we found another Tana Rabbi Doisa in a different place regarding Anim that says the same thing. That's all he came to say. to exclude other thoughts, like maybe it's at the Kolos Chachomim or Ma'aser Sheni Gava. That's what he came to say. But he's not really coming to tell me that Rabbi Dosa is the author. Had he said Rabbi Dosa is the author of the Mishnah and his name was omitted, he would have said, great, it's a Stam Yechido, not a real Stam. It's a Stam Yechido. It's a Stam which is a quote of one person. I don't have to go by that. And that would have solved all the problem. But Rabbi Yochanan didn't say it because it's just not true. So he was, yeah, you okay? No? Yeah.
Stam was like the Ramanan, meaning like a general opinion.
Stam means halachic is Stam. Stam is assumed to be not everyone's opinion. No, for sure not. We have a Mishnah Machloikes v'achakach Stam. We saw it recently in Tosfos. When you have Machloikes between 2 or 3 opinions, and then you have a Stam Mishnah, then we say halachic is Stam. Yes, or that's what Rabbi wrote to endorse that opinion. And sometimes halacha is like the one time, like Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi halacha, Rabbi Yossi mechaveiro. Halacha Rabbi Kiva mechaveiro. The rules there also depends which time. But you're right in general. Yeah. Stam Mishnah Rabbi Meir is also true, but that's not always true. Stam Mishnah, unless known otherwise, it's Rabbi Meir, which is okay. You could also say that Rabbi Meir was more correct halacha. It's not a stira, although it's not always true. Yeah. But now let's continue to something completely new and exciting. It's not completely new, it's connected to our sugya, and soon you'll see how. But basically, there's a whole new term over here, which I don't think we ever saw, maybe in Bava Basra a little bit. So let me give you a little introduction. There are many different types of shtaros that Beis Din would issue. All kinds of legal documents issued by Beis Din. For example, one shtar is called adrachta. Adrachta, which is not necessarily what we're talking about over here, is, let's say there's a person who owes money and he's playing games. It says, yes, I have Eidim, I don't owe money, and they live in Timbuktu, and the other aid lives in Papua New Guinea, and they're going to come tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. The kid is playing games or refuses Bichlal to come to Beis Din. You give adrachta. Adrachta is lidrach, stamp. You bring a shtar. There's a shtar issued by Beis Din, and the Beis Din, the plaintiff, the Tevea can go to the house of Yan and say, look, with the police, I don't know, whatever. Adrachta, you owe me the money. You better pay now. Big red letters. Yeah. By the way, I'm not sure there are big red letters. It's just a moshel. Yep. Now there's a similar shtar. Some call it adrachta and some call it Orcheta. Orcheta is Arich, is like in German Reich, is a king. Also in Aramaic, Racha is a king in Aramaic at the beginning of the Dorim. And if a person gives a letter of authorization, that's called Orcheta. A person gave a letter to his friend, basically empowering him to act upon him on his behalf. I mean to say, to act on his behalf in the money of other people regarding his own money that's held by someone else, basically like a lawyer. What's the big chiddush of this shtar? This shtar is just shlichus. Why do you need a special shtar called Oorcheta? We're going to see an entire sugya here. What's the whole big business? We always say shlucha shalodem k'moisoi. A messenger works like the person himself. The Rishonim answer 2 different answers. To be honest, I saw this in Talmudic Encyclopedia, and it was very interesting. One answer is as follows. The Shulchan Aruch says that. I saw it in Shulchan Aruch also. By shlichus, if I'm a shalach someone to take meiser, if I'm a shalach someone to mekadesh a woman, a shalach someone to do any kind of legal act, then if the person dies, the meshalech, the shliach lost his power. He can't be stronger than the meshalech. If the meshalech died in the middle of the way, before he got to the fruit to take meiser, before the shliach got there, the shliach lost his battery. He lost the Wi-Fi. That's it. Not connected because the meshalech is, many feet under. Now, however, Orcheta helps that. If the person has Orcheta, then even if the original person died, now it's only his Yorshim, and then the other guy can say, he died. The one owing money, the troublemaker, can say, no, you can't say that he died. The letter gives the shliach his own power. There's also other conditions that we'll see later. Another second shot, which I never knew, was that basically by shliach can act in a very specific, very limited way. If I say to the shliach, go be mekadesh shprin sabela, because of Corona she can't come to Israel. Science fiction, everyone can come to Israel during Corona. But let's say only that one lady, Shprincabelo Vel A, yeah, who is the Kala of Yankele from Bnei Brak. So Yankele from Bnei Brak tells his friend, go be Mekadesh, one lady called Shprincabela. She lives in the, I don't know, the valley in LA. They're over there, only her. It's a very specific shlichut. He goes, he puts the finger, Rat Mekudeshes le Chaim Yankele for Bnei Brak, and I'm the shliach. That works. It's a very specific thing. Here, when a person comes and acts on behalf of his new client, of his meshaleach, so then there can be all kinds of things that evolve, all kinds of arguments and yes and no and taking and looking and checking and arguing back and forth and bringing edim, and then that's much more than shlichus. It's not one specific, limited, as we call it in Hebrew, nekudati, one pointed thing. It's a whole load of halachic and legal things that you have to deal with. And that authorization called Oorchesha gives them a carte blanche to do everything. And that is much more than shlichus. That was time a background to know what's Oorchesha, and I'm sharing with you that new treasure which I found yesterday, because that's which I didn't see inside. If only there, I prefer not ask questions at the beginning unless it's very specific on something that I said now. Yeah. Before the Medina, let's discuss this. No, I know about that. Right. I didn't say that. Lav dafka. No, it's not general poverty to everybody. No, let's say I know that Chaim Yankel owes me money, and actually there's a machlokas rishonim if he works regarding Geneva. We're going to see it now regarding a pikodon. It's not very general that he can do anything anywhere. Let's say I know that Chaim Yankel owes me $10,000 because they are deposited in his house or in his bank on my behalf, and he refuses to give them to me. I authorize you with Oorchesha to go to Chaim Yankel and take the 10,000. Not general to everybody. The only thing is that those 10,000 can evolve into all kinds of whatever happens regarding those 10,000 you're authorized to do. So just to go and take them like a puppet, like Kiddushin. That's what I'm saying. It's not as restrictive as Shaliach. Let's go. Amin Nardoi. The Nardoi said, and that's connected to our beloved Rabi Yochanan here. If a person says Rashi, I'm not reading Rashi inside, say Nardoi, you can't write Oorchesha on metaltali. Let's say I have, according to Rashi, I have metaltali. I have my candlesticks. I went to America and I left my very fancy, beautiful candlesticks in my neighbor's house. Then I knock on his door. He's giving me a hard time. He's nifkad. He's the shomer. And what? He has my candlesticks. And he starts giving me, by the way, what I'm saying now is Rashi, according to Orchesa, which I saw yesterday. Yeah. And basically, it's a pikodon. And he says, yes, I owe you the candlesticks. The candlesticks are yours. I'm not giving them to you. I'll give an example. Says the Orchesa, there's dinu dvorim. Let's say the guy says, you want your candlesticks back? You didn't pay Vad Bait for 4 years. Pay me Vad Bait for 4 years, I'll give you back your candlesticks. What? Mechutzef. Don't mix up different things. My Vad Bait is none of your business. You wash the floor all the time in the Cheder Madrigot. Give him a candlestick for chutzpah. Don says, no, you're the chutzpah. You're a parasite. You never paid Vad Bait. I'm not giving you a candlestick. So, okay, cool. I don't have koach to deal with you, you piece of work. I need my candlesticks this Shabbos. I'm going to get my lawyer or my friend or whoever, my toyan, to work on my behalf. And therefore, I'm writing an Oorchesha. Some Rishonim call that also a drachta, by the way, the Rosh Hashanah. I'm going to write an Oorchesha and he'll deal with you. No, you can't write Oorchesha on metaltali. Why not? Omar Rav Ashi Lameima. Why can't write Oorchesha to deal with metaltalin? Why only when it comes to land and not metaltalin? Why can't write authorization metaltalin? My time. Why is that? Omar Lei Ameima said Mishum de Rabi Yochanan, because Rabi Yochanan. The Rabbi Yochanan. If you stole and the Baalim were not Meyash, none of them can be Makdish. Why? The Beis Hamikdash. That's Rabbi Yochanan's famous line. That's Rabbi Yochanan's dogma. Zelafi Shena Shaloi. You cannot be Makdish because it's not yours, you Mr. Ganev. Zelafi Shena Belshuso. You, Mr. Legal Owner, is crying. You cannot be Makdish because it's not under your authority. which means Rabbi Yochanan says that I cannot act halachically, legally, monetarily on something that is not mine. So therefore, I cannot authorize someone else to act upon something that I cannot do. Of course, I can take him to Beis Din, but I can't authorize someone that you'll have the power to take it from him. If I'm a big guy and I just managed to barge in and take the candlesticks, matov u'manoim. If I take him to court, matov u'manoim. I can take him to court to get it back. But to send the power I have, I didn't explain it to you. That's another question. Today's a day for k'tois. You gave me a compliment before. I could teach in yeshiva. Yeshiva they always teach k'tois in yeshiva, so that's the atmosphere today. A shaliach, how come I can such a personal thing like kiddushin? How can a man send a shaliach to be mekadesh another lady for the meshaleach? How does that work? Says the k'tois, every man is a koyach halachic to be mekadesh a woman, right? Any kosher woman for him, right? So shlichus is giving my koychos. I'm giving my koyach, yeah, to you. I have koyach mekadesh halachic power. I'm empowering you that power. I'm the charger and you're the battery. You go on, yeah. But here I don't have my real own koyach to act upon those candlesticks that are stuck over there, which he refuses to give me. He admits it's mine. That's important to know. He admits it's mine. If he's a liar, then he's already a gazlan. Then he's a ganav. And then, of course, Toysfus, but the Toysfus argues in Rashi about Pikodon. But if it's a gneva, if someone stole from me or somebody snatched my candlesticks and says, I'm not giving it to you. Why? Because I'm the sheriff of town, because I'm the head of the gangsters. Then for sure, everybody agrees, or Rabbi Yochanan would say, you're powerless. There's nothing you can do. So Rashi says, even though the Pikodon guy says, yeah, I admit the candlesticks are yours, but I'm arguing on some kind of side taina, bad bite, or you have to say, sorry, you insulted me 2 years ago or something. Even then, according to Rashi, even then, I'm too limited to make any empowerment regarding those items that are by someone else, because out of touch, out of mind, out of sight, out of whatever you want to call it, Rabbi Yochanan says it's mugbal. Go to Beis Din. Beis Din, they're not your shlichim. Beis Din, they're the ones who have an extra super koach. They will take the candlesticks from me with the police and give them back to you. But they're not your shlichim. They're not your puppets. They're the big dayanim. But to send your own puppet, your own shlich, you can't, because you yourself don't have a real halachic power over those candlesticks who are stuck there behind the iron curtain of your nasty neighbor. That's one idea over here. No questions until we develop a bit, and then you can ask if you want. Ikadamri, some take it even further, and they say, Aminaldoi, lokas vinan Orchesa metalteli de kafre. They say no. Only if the metalteli, you don't write Oorchesha authorization over metalteli if the other person says, no candlesticks by me, Mr. Candlesticks? I also like Shabbos candles. I'm also from which candlesticks? Yeah, I know you went to America. Hey, don't laugh. Maybe he's right. Maybe the one who denies, don't take sides, don't be emotional. Maybe the one who says that no candlesticks is right. Maybe the neighbor who claims candlesticks know that that guy is rich and he wants to, some people do it, unfortunately nowadays, he wants to suck some money out of him. So Mimela, we can't write Oorchesha for Mr. Say, oh, my candlesticks are by him and he's not giving me my candlesticks, it's bothering me. Maybe the one who claims the candlesticks by him, maybe he's the wrong one. And Oorchesha is something written in Beis Din. Oorchesha, as opposed to Stam, as far as I know today, Oorchesha is written by Beis Din. Beis Din cannot actually take sides by saying, yeah, he can enter his house and he can act upon him to find the lost candlesticks. How do you know that they're there? Says the Gemara, time at the kafrei, the mechzik shikra. It looks like a lie because we don't know who's right. We can't take sides before the case even started. Yeah, how can we authorize someone to take the lost and horribly candlesticks? You don't know who's right. It looks like a lie, at least. Maybe even if it's 90% right, it still looks like a lie. We don't know that it's true, and you're already taking sides here. Avaloi kafrei. But let's say there was no kfira. Let's say the candlesticks are by him, and he says, yes, I have the candlesticks. I'm an honest guy, and I'm telling you, I'm not giving them to you until you stop parking in my parking space. I want it in writing. So he's not koifer, so we know for sure that the candlesticks are by him. That's not arguable. Elman, there's another sticky situation to deal with. So we're not taking sides. We're saying we allow him. He doesn't have koyach. He's a miskin, a koilel guy. He can't, argue well enough. The other guy is a tough, sharp lawyer. So we say, okay, we know the candlesticks are there. Yes. Both sides have claims. Yes. There's a real case here before we even came to the story. Then we say you can write authorization. So he should go and deal with the pikodon. Avaloi kafrei kasvinan. if he's not arguing, we do write, unlike Rabi Yochanan, he was saying, yes, you can write authorization over the candlesticks or the whatever that is over there that are in his possession, because either we're not big believers in Rabbi Yochanan, or because we say that ad kedei kach, it's not out of your control. Whatever the reason may be, but even though it's in someone else's possession, not real possession, someone else is holding it, you can still write the Oorchesha according to this version of Nardoi. If there are quick and specific questions, I'm game. Yeah, or we can continue still more in the same. We'll continue more on Oorchesha. Let's continue. The Ami Nardoi. Nardoi, once we're on Oorchesha, we're on the ball. We're going to say more halachos connected to Oorchesha. Here comes another huge limitation for Oorchesha. And Nardoi make the third statement. It's actually the second. The first statement had two versions. What was the first statement? That you can or maybe cannot make Oorchesha on metaltalin. Metaltalin that he's denying, for sure you can. He denies that the candlesticks are by him. So don't take sides and say, I'm authorized to take the stolen candlesticks. Who said that they're there before? And also, the other opinion of Nardoi said, even if we know that it's there, you can't authorize because we believe in Rabi Yochanan, you don't have power over the candlesticks that are stuck over there. So you can't authorize someone for power you don't have. Oorchesha, another statement, Oorchesha deloi ksivbe, any Oorchesha that does not contain the words are not, the following words are not written, zil, doin, vezchi, go, don, deal with him, vezchi, and be zoiche. I hope you're successful. Once you're successful, you manage to retrieve it out of his hands, Bubi's candlesticks, the apik lenafshach, and then you take it for yourself. Listen to this. The real authorization in halacha is only such that I tell the shliach, you get the candlesticks for yourself. That's the leis be'mashosho. If it's not written there, the authorization, the Oorchesha is not mamish, is not real. Why? My timer, listen to this, you have to be very trusting of your lawyer, your shliach, because it's written there, once you win the case, it will belong to you. What? My timer, mem test, my timer, Mishum de Omerle, Haich, because Mr. Candlesticks holder, that Rashi calls him the Ne'eman, the trusted one, the Shomer, yeah, can tell him, La Baldrom Didiat, you're not in very, not nice language, none of your business. You're not Baldvorm Didi. In other words, I don't believe in that authorization. You are not a real sad in the story. You're not a real you don't have real connection to the story here. You're not the owner of the candlesticks, in my example. Therefore, you can't just butt in and stick in your nose. But if he says, no, the candlesticks are mine, I will get the candlesticks and I will put them in my Shabbos table, let's say, then we say, then he cannot say, you're none of your business. It is my business because I'm the real owner. Everybody here is asking, I'm of course, mentalist. I know what everybody thinks. First of all, it's kind of cruel. The one who wants the candlesticks is the poor Avrech owner, not the lawyer. And he's, first of all, he's trusting the lawyer too much, right? Because the lawyer can say, and we're going to see that case soon, he'll hold the candlesticks and say, I was successful and it's mine. Yeah, well, that's written authorization. We're going to have solution for that. Omar Abaye, so making a solution. Omar Abaye, ve'ik siv bey, if it's written in the authorization, in the Oorchesha, lemechza l'shlish v'le'ravia, nothing is new, my friends. Some lawyers work like that today. Bituach Leumi, so nice that you can give money to everybody. You know that there are lawyers who work on your behalf to get money from Bituach Leumi, can work hard. And they work by, it's called in very pure, crisp British English, achuzim. The proper word in English is achuzim. That's a word a lot of English know. Percentage, the word for percentage, says Abaye, if that, let's say lawyer, the one who got the Oorchesha, works with mechza shlish v'le'ravia, half, a third, or a quarter, that's 50% is a lot. Even lawyers today don't take 50%. Yeah. 50%. Yeah. What? No win, no fees. They work like that sometimes. Yeah. In other words, I'm working by percentage. Then he can work. Then he can come and knock on the door of Mr. Nasty Candlestick holder and say, I'm sorry, here's the letter. I'm working on someone's behalf. And don't tell me it's none of my business, as he's stepping through the door. And he says, no, I have a half, I percentage here. therefore it's my business. It's only a half, it's only a quarter, it's only a third. Says the Gemara, migo, line starts with the word migo, amigo. Migo de mishtai dina palga, since, migo here means since, it's not the famous migo of Bavakama. Migo of Bavasma. Migo de mishtai dina palga, since mishtai, he can talk. He has the right to talk, dina apalga, since half belongs to the lawyer, legally so, or half or 10%, however much it takes, belongs to the lawyer, mishtai dina akula. Imeli can say, no, I can claim everything because I have a part in it. Why? I saw a very beautiful piece of surprise Shulchan Aruch, not long. The Shulchan Aruch says as follows. I'm sure it quotes Rishonim, but didn't see the Rishonim. If I promise the lawyer $1,000, yeah, let's say those candlesticks are worth heirloom, yeah, $10,000, okay, 10,000 pounds, big numbers. 10,000 pounds from the booby in London, 10,000 pounds candlesticks, okay? And I want them back. And let's say I tell the lawyer, listen, I'll give you not percentage, I'll give you 1,000 pounds, fixed fee. Then the other guy, the candlestick holder, can say, well, up to 1,000. Let's say there are lots of little candlesticks, each one 1,000. Then he can say, I can only deal with you regarding 1,000. The rest of the 9,000 is none of your business because it's very limited. You are only 1,000-pound person here out of the 10,000. But once he says half or third or a quarter, then he can say, no, it's all mine. Percentage means I always want more and more, right? By definition, relativity means if you only give me 9 candlesticks, I'll get whatever. If you give me 10, I'll get more. So it's my business to get everything out of your hand, because if the whole is bigger, then the percentage is bigger. Jewish mind. And Mimela, now it's my business to get every little stick of candlestick and every piece of little extra gold over there, because it's all part of the percentage. Mimela, it's my business. And therefore the Oorchesha, which says I get percentage, is the kosher Oorchesha. It's absolutely my business to be here and come here and start arguing with you and start telling you that bad bait is not your business. Yeah, I'm against people who don't pay bad bait, by the way. I'm not siding here. Okay, yeah, you can ask now. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Omar Meimar. Okay. Itofas lo mafkinan minei. If you caught it, we don't take it out of his hands. That there are 2 explanations in Rashi. I'll go with one explanation. Let's say Mr. Lawyer Shliach, Oorchesha holder, said, let's say you gave him the full authorization and you said it's going to be all yours, and you relied on him. You stupidly relied on him. You didn't just say percentage. You told him 10,000 pounds candlesticks, and now I want you to deal with them, to go ahead and get it out of Yena's hands, and straighten in adrachta, or Oorchesha/adrachta, like the original, apik lenafshech. You'll take and it'll be yours, and then you call him a day or two. What are you making faces now? That we said it before already. So now he trusted the lawyer very smartly. Now the lawyer is calling the lawyer, where are my candlesticks? The lawyer says, my wife's going to light with them this Shabbos, and they're very nice. Says the halacha, so that's Matthias. If he caught it, if he holds on to it, in better words, we don't take it out of his hands. Since the authorization didn't limit it in any other way, the authorization was too big, so to speak, too trusting. And malasot, if you caught it, but the Eved, we don't take it out of the hands of the Shliach. One second, Ravashi Omar, there is a solution, there's love. Ravashi Omar, Ravashi says, Kevin the Katvele, but there's a solution. If the authorizer wrote to the Shliach, to the lawyer, called the mitani min dina kbilis alai, yeah, let's say he wrote like this, called the mitani min dina, any expenses, the mitani is like anything that comes out of the din, any kinds of legal expenses, are kbilis alai. I am the one who's going to pay the legal expenses. Yeah, let's say you have to run to the post and you have to speak to another lawyer, or let's say he's not a lawyer, he's a regular shliach who may have to use a lawyer, may have to use an accountant, may have to use I don't know who, yeah, whatever. Then I accept upon myself the expenses. Then he leaves the foot inside the meshalech, the authorizer, and then shliach shavye. Then he made him only a shliach, And that's good because then he cannot hold on to it, which means we are, let me just explain this. If you're a shaliach, if you're a regular shaliach without any percentage, then the guy holding the candlesticks can say, I'm koifer in the shlichus. You're not really connected here. You're working on his behalf. I don't know you. I know him. La badram didiat. I want to talk to him and not to him. That there is such a thing in halacha. Shlichus is not enough. I want you to have money in it, and yes, and have a say, have a, what do you call it, the skin in it, in the game. Then I'll talk to you. On the other hand, says Baruch, it's going to catch the whole thing. So we found a middle solution. If the meshalech says I'm the one paying the expenses, that shows that I'm on top of the game. I'm the one who is actually the case master, the plaintiff. I'm the one who's mishalechim, and then he will not be able to catch it. He won't be able to catch it because at the end of the day, on one hand, he has the money, possibly, but if he'll really catch the money, I'll say, no, you're only mashliach. We're holding the rope in both hands. Some say shoot for Shavier. Some say no, he made him not a shliach, but he made him a partner. A partner cannot hold everything by him, only some of it. L'mayin of kamina, who cares whether it's a shliach or a partner? L'mitpas palga, if you caught half, what is l'mitpas palga? If I said I am the one in charge and I'm the one paying the fees of Beis Din, and you are the one authorized by me, and you'll take everything, you'll go and get it, and you'll get it, and it's like yours. Then if we say that he's a shliach, he's my shliach at the end of the day, then he'll gain it, he'll get it, and then he'll have to pass it on to me, because he's only my shliach. So he got the money, he's about dvorim, and he should be about dvorim. The candlestick refused me, cannot say, you're not my business. It is my business, I'll get it to my account. That's a good example. In today's world, let's say we'll only go to the bank account of the lawyer, not to the original one. It's coming to my account. Stop right there. As far as you're concerned, Mr. Candlestick Troublemaker, the money's coming to my account. And therefore, it's my business. What happens later is none of your business. Deal with it. Now, later on, because really the lawyer is only a shliach, because why? Because we say that the meshalech wrote, I pay the expenses, which means I'm in charge. The one who pays the piper, the one who calls the flute. Therefore, balameh baladea. Now I will take it from the lawyer and he will not be able to hold it in his account. But if we say that it's a shutaf, then he'll be able to take 50% and keep it by him. Bear that in mind. The Orchesa shliach shavye, happy ending. Not everyone agrees to that, by the way. There's two girsas here. Some erase it, some keep it. The halacha is like a shliach. He's a shliach. Shliach means that as much as he has a say in it, he still retains the lower status of only a shliach, and therefore he, the lawyer, will have to give it the money in its entirety to the meshaleach and not keep it by him. Are you happy now? Are you happy, man? Good. The Maisa this year is officially over. Although I'd like to go. We'll see the Mishnah next week in Session. Thank you very much.